Good evening. I'm John Philip Capello. I was born in 1939, years ago, in Brooklyn. I'm a Brooklyn boy. I'm a painter. I'm a surrealist. That's the easel painting. I work in oils, I work in acrylics, I work on canvas, and I work on wood. I'm a muralist. The first art, murals, wall paintings. That's me up in the top of the Aspen, the Whaling Museum on the second floor for the Freemasons, the Masonic Lodge. And I'm doing a Masonic painting using acrylics. And Linda was my only assistant that I had with me. We would go up there on 20-foot ladder, 20-foot scaffolding, and then stand on step stools to reach the top of it. I'm a sculptor. I carve stone, I carve wood, I carve stone. I love carving stone. This is Odysseus. The top piece is Carrara marble, Bianco peat it's called. The bottom piece is a Vermont marble. You can see the difference in the texture and the color of the stone. And one of the things about stone is that people say that you are a carver. Well, no, not really. I call myself a carver, a direct carver. I work directly with the stone. When you're working with stone, all this is accomplished by chipping, scraping, fracturing, flaking, and pulverizing the stone to be removed. It's an arduous process. The polishing is done by hand. Some Dremel work, but mainly by hand. It's one of the oldest arts, goes back. The Mayans did it, the Romans did it, the Greeks did it, the Etruscans did it, and so forth. And you go back to the city of Ur, and how do we know of these great civilizations? Because of the stonework that remained. That's how we know what they did, what they didn't do. This is alabaster. It's the softest stone to carve, and it's wonderful to polish once you can get a really good polish up on it. This is also a Vermont marble. It's my tribute here. And this is Indiana limestone. This is a piece that I did that's called Adam in the garden. Now here you can see the older Adam that's in the garden with the snakes around it and the foliage and so forth. And this is all hand carved. And we go to the next one. That's Adam when he was young, with his eyes closed. If you read in the Bible, he was blind. Not blind literally, but he was blind to the world. All he knew was his garden. He didn't know anything else. Until Eve came and showed him, hey, there's better things than this garden. You know. I like to work in storytelling. This is also Indiana limestone, and it's called Poseidon's Horses. You take a piece of stone irregularly. I don't like square blocks of stone. I look for the odd pieces. And I fit my imagination into what I could do with the stone. Every inch of that stone is used. And I'm careful about it because I can't put it back. If there's a fraction, that's it. This is Spanish marble. It has a lot of different colors that are burnt into it and they're melted into it. It's absolutely beautiful stone to work with. And it's a metaphysical piece. I like working in symbolism. This is a gray marble of a torso. Stone is heavy. I brought in a piece just so you guys could maybe try and pick it up later. But Stone is heavy to work with, yeah. And basically, I'm the same size as Michelangelo, right? So, we know how to move stone. But sometimes it gets to you. So, from all that work, carpal tunnel. This is, again, a Vermont marble, an old piece of marble, and I regretted starting to work on it because it started to fracture on me, and it was eating away. So right now it's in limbo. It's just hanging out there in my backyard, and I'm trying to finish it, but there was a fracture right here. The fingers came off, you know, I can't put it back. So it's going to be an unfinished piece. This is a piece I did called The Four Faces of the Wind. This is an Italian marble. This is a beautiful piece of marble. Stands about this high. And it's my tribute to the Greeks and the Mayans and the Etruscans, all in one piece. There's different areas of symbolism that I put in there that if you ever come to my studio, my backyard, you'll be able to walk around it and see it. This is a piece of alabaster that I started. And what happened was, you can't see it right now, but here is a figure.
Yeah.
It was in the stone. And all I started to do was to work out of it. Linda came, I called her over, and I gave her a piece of charcoal. I says, define that figure for me. And she did, and I was able to find it. This is part of my backyard. These are all stones just piled up, waiting to be done. Some of it's student work. Seth's work is there somewhere. Yeah, there it is. She's working on a piece. I'm going to be carving here. I'm going to be giving a direct carving class. It's a challenge. If anyone wants to do it, it is a challenge. Stone carving is not easy. But if you learn it correctly, it's a piece of cake. It is. And once you get into it, you'll love it. Because most of you artists work with one hand, right? And painters, right? Sculptors work with two hands. Makes a big difference. This chisel goes in my left hand, goes directly to my right brain. So I'm right into the mood to work when you shift the modes of the brain. Drawing on the right side of the brain. Did you ever read that book? Okay. So if you have any questions, and thank you very much for doing this too. I'm open to some questions. Yes?
Can you tell me about the one with the girl's figure? She's looking into almost like a bathtub. She's inside of a cave.
The back of it. With a braid.
Yes, that's Eve.
Yeah, wait,
Yeah. Okay. This is Adam in the positive, projecting out. And on the other side of him is Eve, pressed into him, not emerging yet.
That's one sculpture.
It's all one piece.
Wow.
That's all one piece. Yeah, so what you see here is right up there.
Do you start with drawings?
No.
You just go for it?
Yes.
You don't do clay first?
No.
Do you start even with an idea? Or you just...
Well, I live with the stone for months, sometimes a year, some more, before I touch it. And when I do, I go directly to it. I'll take a piece of charcoal and I'll sketch on the stone, basically where I'm going to cut. But once I start carving, I can change my mind at any time on what I'm going to do. I'm doing it for myself, so.
This one, for instance, you had the whole concept worked out before you
Well,
started?
what happened was, and I cheated a little bit on this, there is a drawing book. What is the name of it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sarah Symbolic book.
Right, and there's a model on the front cover a black model in this pose. And the piece of stone I had was like perfect for it. So I said, let me try that. Let me try that on that stone. Did Molly?
If you could ask Michelangelo one question, what would it be?
Wow. Wow.
How did you do so well?
Wow, really. To me, Michelangelo was the epitome of the Renaissance man. Much more than Da Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci. And I'll tell you why. Da Vinci was a genius, yes, but he never fully accomplished what he set out to do. He never finished anything. He always had an excuse why he failed. Michelangelo was tenacious. He had sagacity. He knew how and what to do with stone. And he was a marvelous drawer. The book that just came out on Michelangelo's drawings, my God, you got to see that. And his paintings. So being a muralist and a sculptor and a painter, it's like, you know, my Italian card kicked in. Anyone else?
How do you wield the stones? How do you?
How do I what?
How do you wield these stones? I mean,
How do I wield them?
how do you move? How do you handle these stones? I mean, that I get that one.
I
But
can see it.
these, oh, come on. So I can.
Yes, they walk.
I'm bored.
You don't pick them up, you walk them. The things on Easter Island, right? They walked. They proved it with lines. Then they walked.
They just walk up on that table.
Well, if it's really heavy, I go from one thing to another thing to another thing. Or I get someone else to help me. Yeah, whatever. But you're welcome to come up and touch this if you want and take a look at it. Thank you very much.